for the music. So, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey guys, welcome to Trinity Force Podcast. You're listening to episode number 141. My name is Adam Phonophobia Cogswell, and I am your host. We have finally got the podcast on the way. You guys now get to listen to everything that's going on because Dom has awful internet.
That was my bad. No, I think my modem is just breaking. Like, I think it's either the power cord has gone to shit, and I know why that would be, or the modem has just gone bad. No, the dogs don't chew on it.
You can just take it in and trade it for a new one. Say yours is defective.
No, I'm not renting mine. So.
Oh, okay, you bought it. Oh, yeah. That works. Well, fair enough.
Which, prior to now, had never been a problem and has generally been saving me a lot of money. But now it's fucking up my life, ruining everything.
Now you're fucking up my life because I have to stay here an extra 6 minutes to do this damn podcast.
If your life mattered any, then I would really be concerned.
All right,
but
Mr. Producer, I can make your life livable.
Work from home some of the time, and when my internet's fucking up, that actually makes it difficult.
That's right. Guys, don't forget the LCS, or the TForce LCS Rundown goes live this Sunday, right after Super Weekends. We're already 2 days into Super Week, 3 by the time you listen to this podcast. And they will run down the entire week. Now, I do have an announcement that was made on the TForce LCS Rundown that Wreckerin will no longer be joining them. It's not because of audio. I had someone tweet at me and said, oh, is it because of his issues? You shouldn't kick him off because he had issues that day. No, that's not it. He just has personal reasons that he can no longer podcast. Scumbag Wrecker always doing it to us.
Third time's the not charm.
So it's just going to be Tom and Tom?
Nope. It's going to be Tom, and either Dom or myself.
Nice.
Oh,
for now.
Filling in. Okay.
And by me or Adam, he means mostly Adam for like at least through March because I got no time.
So, Chira or DeClaude may need to step in and talk about one weekend.
Sunday night.
Maybe it's gonna be one of those like, hey, I really can't join tonight, and someone needs to step up.
All I need is a heads up, baby.
Yeah, right.
I'll step up to the call.
We need to line up.
This.
I mean, the good news there are no
guests every week.
Games next week, so
until we fill it in.
Well, we are looking for another
LCS
podcaster.
guests.
If you have podcasting experience, I am going to throw it out there. You can email feedback@trinityforcepodcast.com with your resume. We will take a look at it. I'm not guaranteeing anything, but we are looking for people. So
we'll vet you. There will be tests, written and verbal.
Oh, Jesus.
Specifically,
I would have failed horribly in the beginning because I was like,
yeah, I never got my scores back.
You're the reason there are tests.
Nice. I'm glad I can contribute to a better experience.
I'm glad I could shape you into something that actually contributes.
Yeah, there are no meaningful games next week, so
and half bent.
That'll be an easy show.
What, for the TForce LCS Rundown?
Yeah, no meaningful games next week. It's all challengers.
I'm sure they'll find something to talk about.
Yeah, but recapping this week
again
was pretty awesome.
Everybody for week
European
7.
games are amazing, so.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah. So far, everything has been
lots
good.
to talk about.
So, guys, check that out Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time, or 6 p.m. Pacific Time. I'm thinking our podcast. Other than that, don't forget the Oz LOL podcast comes out every Thursday. They're actually coming out Friday this week, and you guys will be able to catch them. That's our Aussie brothers who do a fantastic podcast covering the oceanic scene.
They do.
If you guys would help the podcast or any of the podcasts, we are running a special trial, audibletrial.com/TForce podcast. Type that into your browser. You can sign up for a 30-day free trial of Audible. That'll get you one audio book, and you have something else to listen to when we don't get after you've listened to that 4 hours podcast a week, you guys can listen to an audio book. On top of that, there is a donate button on the website and below the stream. If you guys would like to donate any denomination, we will shout you out on the stream, and thank you very much for your patronage. You guys are helping fund new microphones and webcams for the LCS staff. So, with that said, I think that is all the news.
And there's Carrot right on cue with the Oz LOL pitch there.
Yes! Welcome.
Listening from across the world. Nice.
We got 2. We got an Argentinian.
That's right.
And Argentinian. Is that it?
Yeah, I think that's a little more appropriate.
Yeah. Okay. This is why I keep you guys around and pay the big bucks.
Yep.
Because I sure as hell can't do it.
Well, we got an editor, so we can always check with him.
Yeah, the editor's not listening. He's too busy.
He's too busy.
Editor's researching. He realized games started this week, so maybe there's relevant stuff in there.
No.
Oh.
And one
Hi, Lee.
last, well, go ahead.
No, I just said hi, Lee.
Oh, one last piece of news, guys. There is a T-shirt store out there where you can get any of the T-shirts. There's an LCS TForce Rundown T-shirt. There'll be an OzLOL coming up here in the next couple of days. There is the TForce proper T-shirt as well. You can get to Claude's podcast to your horse T-shirt. And you guys do look, because Mont Nagorum is going to be at PAX East. And so if you have a T-shirt and you walk up to him, there will probably be a prize. But you have to have a keyword or the T-shirt. And that's more of that information will be coming when you listen to the TForce LCS Rundown. So by listening to this podcast, you get a little bit about the next one. Look at that.
When is the PAX East?
April, early April.
It's usually near Easter.
Can
Not
you,
like
Easter is late.
one year was it? Like it was on Easter, but usually it's just like around then.
Let's get that podcast to your horse and women's out there so that they have a chance to buy them.
That'll come tomorrow,
participate.
along with the OzLOL one. I keep forgetting about
Awesome.
that. Remind me tomorrow morning when you get in office, and I'll make it.
I will.
Thank you.
Just spam text him from the moment you get up.
Now, if he reminds me first thing at 8 a.m., it'll get done.
And you're going to make one with hashtag goddammit to Claude.
on the back.
Yep.
Anything for you, buddy.
Then you can say whatever pun you want and then turn around.
Damn it to Claude.
Yep.
Okay, guys. That is that. LCS. Do we want to talk about any of the picks that got done this week? Doesn't look like there's anything crazy that was. I mean, a little bit of Jax today, but that's nothing out of the ordinary.
Malphite got picked, and that's like it seems really run of the mill, but that's because we're thinking back to season 3 when you always saw him. Like in season 4, we really haven't seen that much Malphite.
Besides
Wicked.
Alliance and Wicked.
Yeah, he got picked.
Yeah, Wicked did it like
once.
the first week, and then he stopped doing it because he realized, that was not working for him.
I didn't like the pick at all because Jax honestly should take a dump on Malphite pretty hard, especially at level 6.
So,
But he didn't.
well, yeah, certainly at level 6, and like the later it goes, he's going to dump on Malphite harder and harder. But to me, it seems like the early game, Jax is going to have a hard time really dealing with that bonus HP that Malphite just keeps getting over and over. Like, Jax would really have to work to keep that down and keep it from refreshing and everything, and doesn't that almost put him in disadvantageous position? I'm asking. Like, this is... I've done that matchup once, and it was way back in, like, Season 1, and that was my experience then, but I'm not a top laner now.
I just feel like Malphite... he must have bandaged Malphite's mana issues with runes or masteries, because I always feel like I have an issue on Malphite of running out of mana too quickly. His E does reduce attack speed, which will shut Jax down a little bit. Mm-hmm. But every time I spammed E to try to push the wave or try to keep the wave off the tower, I felt like I was getting dove on, and Jax was just taking advantage of me.
Yeah, I wish there was a way you could rewatch from his perspective.
Right.
To see. Because he did very well, apparently.
They won.
I watched the game, but I didn't see much of his perspective. So.
But which team was it? That Fnatic. Fnatic was who picked Malphite.
Fnatic, and they picked him into the Copenhagen Wolves.
Into the Wolves.
That's it. But the Wolves picked Karthus mid.
Yeah, that was...
Into LeBlanc. And you just don't do that.
Everyone was being nice, saying that's a brave pick.
That's a bad pick.
Absence of mind.
It did happen. Karthus did give up first blood, but I think LeBlanc died in the same gank, but it happened to be a 2-on-2 between the junglers at that point.
LeBlanc survived, I think, and the dead one
LeBlanc
was the other
did
jungler.
Die early, I could have swore. Because I came back, it was 1-1 for a while because I had the AFK for a moment, but maybe you're right. I don't remember.
Millennium's kind of just breaking out a lot of crazy stuff right now overall.
I think they kind of have to, don't they? I mean,
they're
the lowest in the standings right now. They don't know how to close out games, and they have other issues, on top of that, and they have to find something that'll work for them to start winning.
Yeah, using Elise in top lane and then Swain mid in the same game. And then I think it was yesterday, they broke out Tristana. And it's so weird to call, like, marksman champions unconventional or, like, weird picks because I personally just sort of feel like any one of them could really be broken out. But the reality is people are only playing Sivir, Lucian, Caitlyn, and maybe Jinx.
Right.
And Vayne if you're Candy Panda, and that's pretty much it.
Or your Potophobia. I'm going to play Vayne tonight. Oh, I want to play Vayne.
You played
I'll play Udyr. Don't worry about it.
Anyway.
I got you, baby.
No, Dom, you're funny though, because we have all got our champions that we play, and there's champions like that, like the picks like Vayne that are not really picked all that often. And Dom brings up the point that no matter how much you complain about Vayne, she's your best AD carry, so you should pretty much play her all the time, no matter the meta. I'm like, well,
yeah. And
Well,
Vayne
it's true.
late. If you can get her to late game farmed, I don't care. It's a good game.
It's a pain in the
I mean,
ass.
I don't know. Like,
regardless.
I don't know if
Doesn't
that
matter how tanky you
applies
are.
to like solo queue games where you're playing marksman. I don't know how often that happens, and I don't know if you would want to do it then.
Yeah, kind
But-
of. Yes, no. No, I only played it when I was with you because I knew I had protection.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna let you die.
Well, until he punts, what's his name, Draven into me.
That wasn't letting you die. That was.
He was delivering you a
That was
present.
punishing you for not paying attention to what I was doing.
We go for a gank, and I'm going for the Blitzcrank who's running at me, and he pelts Draven right on top of
I
me.
thought you wanted the Draven. The Draven
Well-
was the one who didn't have a mana shield.
You did. you did deliver. You delivered something.
Yeah. Look, okay, so we crossed the streams there, and that's fine, and we stopped doing that, and then like everything's it went back to normal. They were all dying
Dropping
again.
down and get it Gangplank was like
Yeah.
15-0 at the end of laning these.
Damn right.
But we are, so those of you who don't know that Super Week for the EU was played on 4.2, while NA is going to be played on 4.3, which I think is kind of, I kind of feel like I wish that EU would have played it on 4.3 and not 4.2, because I think that would have given some of the teams like Copenhagen Wolves or Super Hot Crew a better chance at winning the games, because you've got people like Overpow who are going to bust out some crazy champions to carry the game. And when the meta has started to shift, especially in the top lane, I know Overpow's not a top laner, but the meta is starting to shift in the top lane. And as 4.4 is starting to hit, it looks like carry junglers are starting to get that hit pretty hard. And it looks like the meta is slowly shifting back to the end of Season 3, where it's hyper carries top and tanky damage dealers in the jungle.
I'm gonna just quick glance at it. I'm not sure how often Europeans are really picking Mundo.
Not too often this week. Not in Super Week. Yesterday he was picked a couple times. I didn't think he was picked once today, was he?
Mundo?
I don't know.
No, I didn't see him.
I mean, Adam's been hating on Mundo for a while, so
Well, also, Cassidy broke out of ban prison twice today, and it was devastating.
Yeah, why would you do
4.3
that?
would it have been as bad?
yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
Because
but the
really
Doran shields on everybody, would you maybe see the supports picking the Targons or Relic Shield instead?
I think we're going to see that a lot more, and I think we're
Still
going to see
keep
some
with the
more.
Dorans.
I think we're going to see some crazy carries at the top lane. I think we're going to see less Mundo, and I feel like this is kind of a hamper on TSM, who has been doing such a great job of having Divers play that tanky top lane champion, and now when you start nerfing those champions for him,
Well, they're
You're
stacking
completely
Doran's blades up top
underestimating.
now.
I think you're completely underestimating Dyrus' ability to adapt to this type of
Watch-
stuff. He's been around for so long.
If you watch Dyrus in Season 3, and he did struggle to adapt at the end of the season, because he was trying to play champions that were in the meta, but he didn't understand how to play them, or he's trying to play champions outside of the meta, and he had a problem in Season 3 adapting for a little while.
Yeah, but just as much of that problem was the reality, or was every other team realizing they can just camp Dyrus and beat TSM.
Sure.
Right.
Like that was going to come into, because they didn't have to worry about the other lanes. Like,
He was their linchpin.
Bot lane could go even and everything, and that didn't matter because Dyrus would be so far behind that TSM couldn't do anything, and Reggie wasn't getting it done. That it's totally different during this season.
Right. Well, they did play a game this last in Week 7, because they had Reggie in Week 7, and Reggie tried to play LeBlanc mid and completely fumbled it. And it was a special who said at the beginning, Reggie can't carry, so we have to work around that. And then they put him on somebody like LeBlanc who has to carry. And
The hardest of all the
Well,
hard carries.
no, that was Dyrus.
Yeah.
I thought it was
He
special
said
who
he
said it.
he can't
Yes.
carry, so the rest of us have to make sure we're not making mistakes,
Okay.
and we're playing as best as we can. And it makes sense. But for filling in for those 2 games, he did outstanding on his first game.
They went 1-1. It was
And
fine.
he didn't. It wasn't his play that lost the game for them, in my opinion. That second one, so
Who,
you gotta
Reggie?
give him his props. Yeah, and he looks like Bolo Young, which is just badass.
I think that what they'll probably end up doing
Who
is
did they
putting
beat? Who was the first game
TSM?
again? Yeah.
I don't remember. I'd have to go back and look at the notes from last week in the show doc. But we're not going to talk too much more about the LCS, since we don't really want to.
Yeah, let's leave. Let's not take away the content from our Sunday show.
Right.
Oh, I guess, do we want to talk about Nocturne? Because he kind of showed up a few times last week.
Nocturne into Pantheon.
Both games, yeah.
Trying to
Is
use him to counter Pantheon. Yeah.
He does really well as a counter to Pantheon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Chi-Chi should know quite a bit about this.
Yeah, and it's a lot because of Spell Shield. if you can block, like
yeah, if you,
a significant.
Just block the stun.
Yeah, if you can block the stun, it's huge.
If you're counter jungling as Nocturne and you run into Pantheon, are you scared or you're pretty much okay?
I wouldn't worry about it. I mean, what's he gonna do if he stuns you?
I don't know. Those spears
I mean,
are on short
sucks.
cooldown.
Yeah,
keep throwing
but
those at you.
The thing is, he has to be in like, if he's in range to spear throw at you, he's in range for you to fear him.
Right.
So he hits you with a spear. If you block
point.
his stun and then you just
Right.
you fear him away, you can just walk out of there no problem
Well, let's
unless somebody
discount the fear for a second here for this argument, for the sake of another argument. Also, if you block that stun, part of Pantheon is a surprise of and shit, I should actually let Claude talk about this over anybody. But it's part of the surprise that I've stunned you for that second and a half. I've thrown a spear at you, and now I've hit you with E and crit if you're below 15% life. You know,
right? No,
I've dropped you by half life and a whole combo. If you take that stun out of the rotation, he no longer has his combo up and can never get those extra auto attacks in. Yada yada.
And his strength in the LCS is in setting up his lanes for the kill. Because of that solid targeted stun, they have time, and pros with their quick reflexes can go, okay, you're coming in, just give me that half-second stun. That's all I need.
Plus, if Pantheon does ult and Nocturne's in the area, he can also ult as well to help even the odds in a fight.
Get in there.
It's better in that respect, just because it's much, much quicker.
And it denies vision.
I'm not trying to like drive you into the ground here, Dom. I'm just trying to bring up the other points of reasons that Nocturne is such a good.
No, I don't.
That
and I asked. I honestly didn't know. That's why I brought it up.
He's a surprisingly strong duelist when you land Dustbringer, and the small heal you get from your passive is, it's pretty nice in duels as well. But the bonus AD from staying in your little shadow on the ground, that's massive in a 1v1 situation, especially early. And if you can block that stun off and dodge the Heartstreaker strike because of it, Pantheon's losing out a ton of free damage that he would have otherwise. So, if the Nocturne can outplay the Pantheon, it's going to go in his favor.
But smart Pantheon players will
just
bait out that shield.
Yep.
All you'll do is soak one spear maybe, and it's up in another 3 seconds.
And if that does happen, again, you can just fear and walk away. If everything goes...
I really like this. I really like Darkness, though. Or I can't remember the name of his ultimate at this point.
Paranoia.
Paranoia, thank you. I really like Paranoia into that, though, because as soon as you see Pantheon man-dropping, you have time to react, if you are in position. And we've always talked about how good Nocturne is in solo queue because it instills fear into people.
It's the chaos factor.
Yes. And once that happens, even in the pros, what do you do? What lane is he coming for? What's happening? How do we react to this? And you can't see, and that Pantheon can't see to drop down right away.
Well, he can't see to drop down right away, and his team can't exactly see what he's doing as well.
Right.
That's a huge denying factor in itself. Your Pantheon's telling you he's going to drop. Nocturne immediately ults, and they didn't get vision on exactly where he's dropping or where he's setting things up or whatever, and it kind of
you have to notice Pantheon prepping his ult, though, or see the ring appear and ult immediately to prevent Pantheon from targeting somebody with his stun when he comes out of his Grand Skyfall, because it's immediate. As soon as that second circle appears, you can click W and click your target. So Nocturne's got to be on the ball with that. And then it's really frustrating because oh, man, all right, I'm going to land. We'll see what happens, if I'm next to somebody, and then go from there. But it is a good counter. I agree. It's annoying. That's for sure.
I want to check one thing.
What are we checking?
I want to just compare the ult cooldown timers.
Nocturne's is 160 seconds, 140 seconds early.
And Mr. Pantheon?
80 seconds, maybe? 85?
I was actually asking to Claude about he should know.
Yeah, like I should know. But no, I don't know. I think
it's a little longer. It might be 2 minutes.
Nocturne's is 180. You are correct. Grand Skyfall is 150. So they're similar.
That's pretty close.
Yeah. It is pretty quick. It's pretty good. And if he's jungling, I'll take the blue most of the time. So
Paranoia actually gets shorter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
That's weird.
Yeah,
then Grand Skyfall, I mean.
Yeah, no, it definitely gets shorter. And
by the end of the game, it's up after every team fight.
Yep.
It's by the end of the game, Paranoia, it's at 100-second cooldown, and then whatever your CDR is. Grand Skyfall is 120.
Okay, so at max. Do you on Pantheon jungle? Are you maxing R? Because it used to be you only put 1 point into it.
No, I max it.
Okay.
It's always 6, 11,
I
16.
just remember back in season 2, again a while ago, that it was
when it was global.
I don't even know if it was global, but yeah, you would only put one.
It was.
You would pull. Yeah, you'd only put 1 point into it because you weren't using it for the damage. You were using it just to get to
the
next
gap
location.
close. Right.
Yeah.
Also, because it had like an 8-second channel total.
That's also where you would max Heartseeker over Spear, and there were different builds. And
not that matters right now. I just thought I was curious if it had gone through the same.
Speaking of semi-global ults, I was just thinking about Xerath today. Why haven't we seen much? And he was disabled in 4.2 for NA LCS last week. Why was he disabled? Because
I would guess
buggy?
to a large degree it's comfort zone stuff right now. They're kind of in the thick of it, and I doubt they've had a lot of time to build strategies around Xerath.
Well, then that's their choice to pick him or ban him. I'd rather they disable Kassadin than Xerath.
I don't like they wouldn't have disabled him as the comfort thing. Like Riot would have had to have a reason to disable.
No,
him.
I meant. Oh, I didn't. If he's disabled, he's disabled. I meant
He
the
was
teams in
disabled
general. The teams might not have been
like a choice to pick. I
Yeah,
can see
to me,
it,
the teams like just they're not doing it because they don't have. He just got reworked. He wasn't.
Right.
Typically, after reworks and with new releases, they still disable the champion for 2 weeks. So, like Vel'Koz, we won't see him tomorrow.
That's what
It
I
doesn't.
figured.
It doesn't
Vel'Koz,
matter, or we won't see him in North America this week because he's
He
disabled.
won't be available. Yeah.
And I would guess that's what was going on with Xerath. And then by the time he was eligible for play, they are like so focusing on either making minor adjustments to their existing strategies or like really working on other things that trying to incorporate Xerath and his nuances, we'll say, isn't really going to work for a team. That said, they have next week off. It is very feasible that they could like take that time to really break out some weird champs. So
we can come back and see Vel'Koz, come see Xerath.
That's the other thing. Like, it could just take one champion to totally flip who people start playing in mid.
Yeah, but
Was
Skarner wasn't
banned
disabled.
Xerath wasn't banned in the EU LCS.
Skarner was
he?
a relatively minor set of reworks, though. That was really just a tuning thing.
Where they literally
like, it
changed
wasn't
everything in Xerath's kit.
Sure.
like
Diamond
Karma would
talked
have
about
been.
him.
Karma would have been disabled after her rework, but Trundle wouldn't have because fundamentally everything's pretty much the same with Trundle.
Okay.
But Xerath, I don't know if he was available to be picked this Super Week for Europe. I'm not sure.
I don't know either.
I remember they mentioned it in NA, but I didn't
hear
look at the champ screen and see if he was grayed out or anything. So I don't know.
Well, and sometimes
But he wasn't picked,
It's
so.
not even grayed out. Like, because for how long was it that Rengar was disabled, but he wasn't disabled in the game? You just couldn't pick him. People even hovered over him at sometimes, but they knew they couldn't pick him no matter what because of the game-breaking Q bug.
Right. Well,
which is funny because that
just
entire
curious about-
time that Rengar could have been played and he was overpowered not because of the Q thing. I just think it's funny he never saw play even after that.
they never picked him because
Right.
Yeah, I'm curious about Xerath though because when he was first reworked, we saw a lot of Xerath. Now he's petered off to I don't remember the time I've seen one.
I literally
That's
played nothing
reworks.
but Xerath last week too, which is
really?
funny. Yeah,
Just
to be honest,
that's-
I think he's really strong right now, but that's just
I'm trying to find the date
Just
when
me.
the rework came out exactly, just to.
His ult is tricky.
his ult is tricky.
His ult
but
pisses me off because I want to click. I want to click, not press R.
it takes
art-
it takes a couple
like
games to
art.
get used to. But damn, does that dude blow up squishies with that shit? It's hilarious. You can end fights before they even start if you see like they're posturing or something. And you just hit the AD carry 3 times, or or their mid laner.
Get him
It's
with
it's
that
awesome,
Same thing
right?
as his old one though. I mean, if you hit,
But
the 80 carry
way
3 times-
farther.
Yeah,
that's
right.
that's the thing. That extra damage. It's just it. If your team's ahead, he's a monster to deal with.
just
Especially
curious
if
to see
you have somebody really good on your team, like a Blitzcrank who can get a pull off or something like that, and you can immediately stun ball right into him.
Stun ball.
Yeah, whatever
The orb
it's a
of
ball of a
stunning.
stun.
I love it. It made me laugh.
But yeah, like I played probably 8 or 9 games with him last week, and I didn't have less than 20 kills a game on any of them. I didn't lose
I didn't have
one
less
of
than
them
20
either.
kills a game.
Pretty
No,
awesome.
I'm not kidding. Go look up my match history from last week, man. That was a good luck run though. But
Cool.
Yeah, I think he's solid right now. That and he never runs out of mana.
Yeah, I was just
really
curious.
Hard to run on him. Actually, there was a lot of times I'd run by the jungle camps and go, I'm hitting one of these. All right, thanks. Just keep walking.
I do think if like when he's available, if like Vel'Koz starts to get a lot of play in LCS, people will start to look at champions like Xerath. Ziggs will still get a lot of play. Even Lux, I think, will start to get some attention just because range and sieging will become the name of the game, and those champions do it really, really well.
I would even think that Xerath would be a pretty good pick into Vel'Koz because he can set up behind his minion line and Vel'Koz
right, and if you can take out Vel'Koz before he can take out your bruisers and tanks, like you've done your team a huge favor.
And if you're sitting back far enough and Vel'Koz uses his ult and he can't hit you with it, you could immediately just pop your own ult and pepper him 3 times while he's not hitting you, and he's immobile, not tanky at all. And if you're ahead enough, he's dead.
He is squishy.
Yeah, he's
takes good timing and skill. That's why I wanted to see him played by a pro here in the LCS.
Yep.
Because I'm curious, it takes a lot of skill to hit that. So
I'm sure if you want, there's got to be somebody out there who's been playing Vel'Koz on stream. I don't know any of the big streamers anymore. I don't watch streams, so I can't say who's been playing him the most.
For Xerath and Vel'Koz.
Maybe somebody in chat can help us out with that. If you guys have seen someone play a lot of Vel'Koz, let us know.
Or Xerath.
Right.
So
Vel'Koz, let's see here. Pro builds. Overpow's been playing him. I don't know if he streams.
Oh, nice. He's getting ready.
Mostly Overpow.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to see Overpow
Shifter has a little bit, but yeah, mostly Overpow. Other than that, it's like Dandy and Saint Vicious. So
I can see that.
Poby Noy over here, Saint is playing a lot of support Xerath on his stream. Confirmed on Saint stream, Xerath's good support. No, actually, I saw him tweet about that the other day, and I don't see it. I mean, you have a slow and a stun, but it's a skill shot stun.
When Phantom Lord, I watched a couple of his games with Xerath when Xerath was first reworked. So I saw some of that, but I didn't see anything amazing. So
Overpow and Cowtard have been playing Xerath, and that's pretty much the extent of it. Link maybe a little bit, but
okay.
All right. Well, I think it's enough with the LCS new champion discussion for this week.
And banter, yeah,
and banter. We've talked quite a bit about it, and I want to get through some of these listener questions before they continue to pile up.
Let's knock them out.
I don't think it'll ever stop, but please continue to send your questions in. Right, don't stop. Don't stop telling us what we do right or wrong.
Can't stop, won't stop.
And please continue to tell me how good I look.
Get the fuck out.
Thanks, guys.
You look amazing.
Yeah.
And I don't mean the jungler.
Yeah, dude, look at that. Oh, yeah. All right. I need another beer. Can we pause this podcast?
You need another beer.
Look at that. There's like nothing left of my chalice.
Sloshing around. God, please stop calling it that.
Your chalice of harmony. There.
That's not a
Oh my god.
Wait, I'm gonna read. This is me reading. So, Malkoth writes in, I have been playing a lot of jungle
All right, what is it, Esquire Grogan?
That was great. No, you gotta keep doing that. That was the best.
Yes, please.
Okay. I can't do it anymore. I've been playing a lot of jungle recently, and I noticed I do well when I have at least 2 lanes winning or going even. But if 2 or more of my lanes are losing, I begin to fall behind. I should have done that at the end. I begin to fall behind and cannot make decisions on where to go or how to turn the lanes around or a game around. What should I do as a jungler when multiple lanes are losing?
And Chi-Chi.
Well, Malkoth, we have plenty of people on this podcast that can take care of that for you.
If multiple lanes are losing, and we've talked about this a lot, about like cutting your losses with certain lanes and just realizing that you're going to have to neglect certain lanes over others. This is probably the biggest piece of advice for this situation. You need to look at who your laners are and figure out which one, if you can get them back into the game, is going to be able to carry the hardest. So, for example, say that you have a Mundo top that's getting smashed, and you have like a Vayne Leona bottom, or Vayne insert other support bottom. That Vayne is probably going to carry much harder than the Mundo is, because the Mundo just needs to get the late game, and he's going to be a wall anyway. He just needs to play safer, build some items, and get tanky. Whereas that Vayne needs money to go do her job way better. She's not going to kill anybody if she doesn't have any damage items at all, or if she's getting shoved out and can't farm.
And that's good for trying to help your team in those choose which lanes you want to try to snowball more. But to help, he said he's falling behind, to help him catch up and to ensure a more successful gank, revisit lanes where you've made them burn their summoners. Flash, exhaust, whatever it may be. Revisit when they're on cooldown. Make sure you're cognizant of that so that if you made them burn it, then if they don't have it, chances are you're going to get the kill. So.
And here's the other thing too. If you have 2 lanes losing and you're kind of indecisive and you don't know what to do or who to help, don't just sit around waiting for ganks to happen. And don't just sit around in bushes. You need to be using your time as wisely as possible, whether that's to continue farming or to try and go to lane and make something happen.
I was going to say that your last point is what I was going to snowball off.
Right.
Sometimes just showing up to a lane and helping bottom lane 3v2 push down a tower is better
is
than
enough
doing nothing.
Well, and the thing is, if you can if you stick around and you could even zone out the other 2 people with just a body to allow your AD carry to get some extra farm or something anyway as well. It's when you're the jungler, yes, showing yourself in certain positions can be disadvantageous, but showing yourself in certain positions can be just as advantageous, because if they see you and you're kind of around bot lane, they're probably going to back off and it'll relieve pressure from your teammates.
Just in general, there's something to be said for hedging your bets on the lane that has 2 people in it as opposed to a lane that just has 1 person.
Right.
And the other thing camping bottom lane will do is give you better dragon control.
I agree with that statement more this season than any other season before. Last season I could have argued that, but
no, last season you were basically still hedging your bets on 1 person.
Right.
And a bunch of wards.
There's just
but I meant if you camp bot, like it was like, hey, your 80 carries fed and your support's gonna buy more pink wards.
Yeah, it's a when in doubt thing. And
right.
I think Dom's right on the money.
If it comes down to it this season, it's probably best to just sit and camp your bot lane if your bot and top is losing. If your mid lane's losing and your bottom's losing, you got to see who's going to be able to hard carry the best. But
there's that. I don't know. I'm actually kind of on the mind that's like, you know what? Just do whatever it's going to take to get you dragon control back, because that's going to be a really easy way to get your team back into the game is to get that extra gold.
I want to revisit what Cheer was saying before about just showing yourself will help your lane regain some advantage. But also, if they see you leave, then they're going to come back and continue pushing your allies into the turret. So I noticed this the other day on Sejuani. I went into the river bush from red side. That was the side we were on. And the enemy Caitlyn Leona just had my bot lane pushed up against the turret, was starving their CS. I went into that lane bush where the ward was. They backed off right immediately, and all of a sudden my guy started getting CS. I swept the bush and killed the ward. They stayed back. I went back to my jungle farm, but they thought I was still there, or they didn't want to risk me being there. Right. And my bot lane caught up a little bit, and I was like, that's actually
it's mind
worked
games.
Out for the better. Just showing myself, killing the ward, and then sneaking out of there.
But I don't want to give... I mean, we're giving a lot of people hope here, telling you how to get behind or get ahead, but there are some times that lanes are going to lose, and there are some times that you're going to lose 2 lanes, and there's not a way to get back into the game. And at that point, you need to recognize that, some games aren't salvageable. There's just some points where no matter how many questions you ask, all 3 of my lanes have lost, or my mid lane lost to mid tower, and the guy's roaming and this and that. You just have to learn to recognize that some games just aren't salvageable. To Claude, you can shake your head all the time. There are some games that are not salvageable.
If that's the case, though,
they're all salvageable.
Keep farming and try to keep yourself as relevant as possible, and just hope the other team throws.
Right. Yeah, I mean, if you get to the point where you think the game is unsalvageable and everything, but you're gonna try to grind it out, then you got to ward up your own jungle and just try to catch somebody who is not where they're supposed to be. The support that's trying to clear or ward somewhere. A jungler that's just doing a little bit of extra greedy counter jungling, that type of thing. Like whatever you can do to give your team some type of control that will let you springboard a little bit. Because at that point it's baby steps, but baby steps are still steps.
Yeah, and a good point is, okay, you're saying it might not be salvageable. That's if the enemy team doesn't make any mistakes. At this point, if you can get it into the later game, you can capitalize on mistakes so easily.
I'm definitely there where you shouldn't... I mean, I'll give up when I realize the game is 100% unsalvageable, and that's where
like they took your inhibitor and they got a Nexus turret down.
They just pushed down 2 turrets without taking much damage. We weren't able to stop them, or we just lost a team fight under a turret with better AoE ults than they did. Like
they have two inhibs down, and you guys haven't killed a turret yet.
Yeah, that type
but
of thing.
Then all of a sudden, I've noticed, they're stomping you, so they get cocky. You catch them out on their own.
I'm not going to say that's not going to happen.
Way overextended, so I skyfall on their face and kill them, and then we roll in and just kill turret, inhibitor, Nexus turret, win.
No, I get that. And I'm not saying don't stop. I'm not saying don't play this game and don't, really give up. But there's some points where instead of grinding it out for that extra 45 minutes, you have to make the decision: is it better to surrender now at 20 and go into another game and win it really fast? Is it
that kind of comes down to the player and everything.
Exactly.
And you're talking basic cost benefit analysis here. For DeClaude, the time cost is never going to
always
he's like, for him he'll grind to the end.
And I have fun with it. Because even if we do lose, I expected to lose because we were losing.
Well, see,
but if we don't,
if you don't, it's an epic win.
It's an epic win. It's amazing. It's like hitting a Nidalee spear through the fog of war, hearing that crunch, and you get that, that was awesome.
The only time I'm really inclined to start a surrender or I want to get out of a game is if a player on my team has been particularly toxic.
Right.
Otherwise, whatever, I might click yes to a surrender just to sort of end the misery, but I won't start one.
Oh, you know what? I'm a little different. Maybe it's because I'm a little vindictive, but if someone's sitting at base dancing or they're really toxic and they're trying, they gave up and they're pissed and they're raging, I'll make them stay. Damn it. I'll make them stay until
that's what I do.
I've been there. We've all been there.
I get why you guys are like that and everything, but I realize all I'm doing is wasting my time on that person, and I don't want to do that. At the end of the if you can make it
the person's preference.
No time spent enjoying something is wasted, Dom. Let's be real.
That's a good quote. I like that. No time spent enjoying something is wasted.
Man, lots of jungling questions tonight, because this next one is too. So I'm going to read it. I'm going to go grab a beer and let you guys take the question one more time. So Spork V writes in, I'm a mid and support main, but lately I've been trying to work on my jungling. I'm pretty good with timing buffs and calling barons, but I'm awful at calling for dragons. This is great for the last question. I don't know if you did this on purpose, Dom.
I didn't.
Okay. Any suggestions to help remember to go for dragon or when to grab it?
I didn't do it on purpose, and I'm also going to note, I'm really disappointed that you didn't do the voice again.
I got to get more beer. I'm out of beer. I will.
You need the beer to do the voice.
All I hear
didn't do the voice.
You can't hold an empty glass and do it.
You can hold an empty glass.
I'm going to get more beer, and the voice will happen again.
Sweet. All right, so
take it away,
who
Sean.
wants to start on this one? Yeah.
All right.
It's the Sean show tonight.
When do you go for dragon and
Chi-Chi's jungling hour?
The best times to go for dragon are particularly, since we were talking about going bottom lane and ganking a lot, if you can force the enemy bottom lane to back, if you can get any fight where the enemy jungler is too low to contest, if you guys are able to basically push anybody out of a fight or keep them in a low health or disadvantageous position where they really don't offer any shot at hitting back at you, that's the best time to get dragon.
Sean's simply the day calendar working for him with advantageous and disadvantageous.
It's just it's just the best way to phrase it tonight.
No, it is. It's good.
The thing with dragon is people will get cocky and think they can just take it because they're ahead, and fights will get turned around and they'll die, and the enemy will get dragon and 4 kills, or you'll get dragon and they'll ace you, and that's really bad. But the absolute best time to get dragon is when they are just in a really bad spot, and there's numerous factors that can go into this.
You mean their champions aren't in a position to contest it, or
I mean, they not only is are their champions in a bad position to contest, but say you just forced, they have an Annie mid lane, and you just forced her to back. That's one ult that isn't going to drop on you and hit multiple people that could potentially turn a fight around. Say you just
cool down.
you've just fought their jungler at blue and he smote blue to try and take it away from you so you wouldn't get it. Hey, he doesn't have smite up. Go take that
I
dragon.
appreciate that you used smote and not smited.
I
He's smitten the dragon.
it's smote. Please stop.
Well, that's that, and also
the dragon
like
was smitten
they
by
say,
his
and
smote.
you see in the LCS all the time, they go for it when the top lane's teleport isn't down, or they don't have a teleport, and the top is seen top.
Or like
boom, goes dragon.
if they, if you knew that they just do their ignites or something, or they don't have a flash up, or
Smite is down.
Alts, yeah, Smite's down. A couple of their alts are down. Basically, it's just about it's if you want to come back to the cost benefit kind of thing. If you have way more factors that can go into winning this fight than they do, that's basically the best time to go get dragon.
Also,
and sometimes it really just
headed dragon. It's time to start posturing and threatening and
right.
To a degree, it really just does depend on the ebb and flow of the game. If you can get vision control, there are some champions that can just do an early dragon. Not that he's a popular jungler anymore, but like Nasus is a great example. He can take dragon down really early, and if you're running around, by himself, and if you're running around with a sweeper, and you've just made sure that the river is free of wards and everything, and they don't know you're going to do it, you can just sneak it in there.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's what Fiddle used to be notorious
that
for.
That depends on the champion.
Yeah. And pre-patch Kha'Zix.
Right.
But, I mean, vision control sometimes really just decides whether or not you can do dragon real quick.
Again, if you really want to know that kind of thing, it's an experience thing, because the more you play and the more you get put in situations where you have to like make that decision. For all the times that you make a poor decision and things work out, you'll learn for the next time that you probably shouldn't do that. So there's definitely like an experience factor going into that. The more jungling you do,
that's what they say with pro sports. Like
it's 10,000 hours to master or something like that to master anything.
To master anything, same thing. Like, how many times have you seen skateboarding? You see all those awful videos. Those guys have had to do that same grind, 1,000 times to get.
I don't envy those guys. They break every bone in their body to just get one trick right.
Right, and while you're not breaking your bones, you have to mentally break yourself to understand how it's gonna work.
True.
Yep. You have to see what fails before you'll see what works. And if you're not like testing the boundaries of what you can get away with, you'll never know what you can sneak.
And sometimes it's just going to take playing in a battle arena or having a friend watch you play the game and tell you what you did wrong and tell you why you should have done this at this time. And
or highlight, hey, this is the time you should be posturing for dragon. Mm-hmm. When you're watching it later in hindsight, say, oh, okay, maybe I'll try to recognize that. Based on what you see with this ward, or et cetera, or you should be rewarding here at this time. If you got the timers for Baron down, you got timers for buffs. It sounds like you have the timer for Dragon down, Pat. So use that to your advantage. Make sure you always have vision on it and you have it cleared and you know when it's going to spawn. And then it's just a matter of what we talked about. Seizing an opportunity when there are cooldowns spent, and taking Dragon when you can.
That's right. Make sure it's advantageous. Siege the day.
Siege the day.
Siege the day.
You like that?
Siege the day on Monday nights, 8 o'clock.
No, I'm fucking. I know it's Siege the day. Fuck you all.
I know you do.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Now let's get on to this next question about Frog and Anivia. Should I do it in the voice? The awful.
Obviously, you should do it in the voice.
Duh.
Quite. Frog and Anivia came back in week 5 and did pretty well.
That's not the voice.
I can't do it now. It's gone.
All right, anyway.
Do you guys think that... I can't do it. Do you guys think... Yeah, you guys are fucking with me. Hold on.
Just read it.
Just read the damn question.
Do you guys think Anivia could make a comeback this season? Or is the bird going to remain a just till it works because Frog... Or just because Froggen picked it pick?
Is this kind of like the Wicked Aurelia?
I think it's... Well... If the buffs to Aurelia in 4.4 go through, everybody's going to be picking Aurelia, and that's...
Damn right.
Wicked is playing 4.2 Aurelia in 2 matches and winning.
Right now, Froggen to me... not Froggen. Anivia to me is a good pick if you're not going against, like, LeBlanc.
That's the quintessential matchup I was going to bring up.
I think you can play Anivia if you were not going against LeBlanc or Kha'Zix or some kind of assassin mid. You could definitely do it against Gragas.
What about against like Ziggs?
You could do if you plan on losing CS early, sure. Or you don't plan if you plan on being able to get to 6 without them taking dragon before you hit 6 type of thing, I would say probably yes. Because if you're going to play Ziggs into Anivia, the people need to realize that you have a window of where you can make plays happen, or you have a better chance of making plays happen that's counter jungling, because Anivia can't really do anything to stop the counter jungle besides stun and a tiny little wall.
I was about to say, for the most part, she's kind of a utility mid that has to reach a critical mass point before she's able to blow anybody up. And that's where a lot of the common pick champions right now can either blow you up right from the get-go, or they stay relevant and can blow you up throughout the entire course of the game. That being said, I always think Anivia can work just because that bitch is great at keeping people from taking turrets, and her passive is always solid.
I don't mind.
There are a few better anti-siege champions in the game
Right.
than Anivia.
Right.
And she's
but that
a great.
is really dependent on her. She needs blue.
Yes, she does.
Even if she has a tier and a Athene's, she still needs a blue to stay relevant. So you have to be. There's just things that go. There are cases when you can pick Anivia, but then you have to be aware of what could happen by picking Anivia, and is that they see you have Anivia now that they could push early, take early dragons. They could push early and start invading. They could try, by invading, they could test every single blue that you have, because you realize how dependent she is, or everybody is on that. Thanks, Sean. I'm watching you the entire time. But if you are aware of that, and you can make it work, I'm talking like a ranked 5 setting, you can make Anivia work. Now in solo queue, I don't think people are coordinated enough to go in and start stealing blues and stuff. And if you're just good at the champion, play the champion.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, it's a case where if you're good at it, like if you're asking about Anivia and you're good at her, just like play her, because people aren't gonna understand how to play against you.
Right. And she, when she does hit that point, she does surprisingly heavy damage too. Like, I mean,
Well,
it's
is coded as a crit. So.
I know it is. It's an ice crit to the face. But
and you can do some great shit with the wall,
Sure.
especially in the jungle or through the terrain.
Even
Block
with Rod
off
of
paths.
Ages and a couple other things, you can actually make Anivia decently tanky. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember like the old school Warmogs Anivia build, but
Froggen said you could build anything on Anivia.
she was just a pain in the ass to deal with. Like in the past, I still think a lot of that can carry over. It's just with the current mid lane champions like Ziggs, Gragas, Yasuo.
You can clear just as well, and
LeBlanc and for the most part, there's people that clear just as well.
I'm picturing the Yasuo and Anivia matchup, but I'm just laughing about how one-sided that would be.
like the LeBlanc and Nivea matchup.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
no, LeBlanc is gonna.
I have a question for you.
Yasuo would manhandle her. Oh my god.
Damo here just died.
Maybe one of you knows, but I got a question about the wall. If you put the wall and completely block off a path, and an enemy champion clicks as if to go through that path, but it's in the fog and they don't see the wall, will Riot automatically reroute the path around it, or will they go up to the wall and stop?
It'll reroute.
It reroutes.
Oh, that's annoying. That's a good. That's a good way to. Because they're like, why am I not going this way? Because you have no idea.
Dom, they do not bust through the wall anymore.
That's a bummer.
That was a bug. It was actually a bug that was busting.
That's disappointing. That was a really cool feature about her.
Yeah, that was cool.
Right.
You used to be able to almost trap somebody in the wall if you put it on top of them. They would just slow down.
You still can do it. You could trap somebody against just like with Ice Pillar. You could trap somebody
I mean
against a wall with it.
Out in the open, means put it on top of them.
He means somebody's
slowed.
I'm following. Yeah.
And then they pop out.
Somebody's running away.
I do want to see a full-on wall comp, Anivia and Trundle, and Jarvan.
You just block somebody. Oh.
Why don't you put Ashe in there too and just get all the frost? We can have a little Lissandra maybe.
Jarvan's not frost.
I don't want Jarvan.
Just okay. This is what you would do.
Wall comp,
you would get Ashe. You'd get Anivia. You'd get Trundle. You would just build Leandries on all of them.
No,
and then you build Tanky.
Does the wall count as terrain?
Leandry's on Ashe.
Where you can do some sweet moves with a Nautilus. Throw the wall. Nautilus anchors in there. Bam! Pulls himself using the wall.
We're just being ridiculous.
That would just be
you run Jarvan.
That'd be pretty badass.
Anivia, Jarvan, and Trundle, and then your bot lane's Alistar and Vayne, and so you just constantly have walls to knock people into.
I'll do it. I'll play
And
Vayne.
around.
Let's go. Did someone mention playing Vayne? I don't care what we're playing. Let's be stupid. All right. Thanks, Luke, for writing in. I didn't mention you did that. Professor
Did we even
Moot.
answer the question? So
We didn't?
Yeah, it could be. I mean, I'm sure
about Anivia,
Anivia.
but we didn't really give him a solid answer.
There's not a solid answer.
I mean, it just works because of Froggen pick, or could it work?
It could.
Yeah, at the
we already said it
LCS
could
level,
work.
it's probably working because it's a Froggen pick. In solo queue, I don't think she's terrible.
I don't
but
think
I
she's
don't
nearly as bad as
If you're
people
really
think she
good, just like anything else we say, if you're really good with that champion, you're comfortable with it, play it over a popular champion that you're not comfortable with. So
I'm just gonna quick glance at her stats here since she's gonna be at the top. She's sitting at 50%, win rate. So
It's not bad.
damn good.
I mean 1.17% pick rate. So pretty much anybody playing her is
Knows what they're
an
doing.
Anivia player. But that just tells you, Anivia, like in and of herself, she's not gonna like decide the game for you in champion select.
Anivia never really she never really disappeared. I just think people just got so used to Froggen playing her all the time and seeing her in the LCS. Like, I didn't really see her being played in ranked 5s all the time. Like, if I saw her, it was because our mid was playing her.
I mean, she's a really high skill cap champion,
Yes, she is.
and that's daunting to a lot of people,
You gotta
especially because she
manage
doesn't like
your
her plays aren't particularly flashy. Like she causes a lot of screen clutter,
Right.
but it's not like you pull Lee Sin bullshit with Anivia.
And we all know that everybody wants to run around with a giant sword.
People, yeah.
Right.
Spinning their axes.
You want to be
Yeah.
a giant ice bird? Come on, man.
I do.
I think if she got a
Come on,
visual update, we would actually see more of her.
Well, yeah, that's about every
You're right.
champion.
Yep.
All right,
I thought
Professor-
that's what the when they changed her voice up and gave her new lines was.
That's not
No.
a visual update, buddy.
That's an audio update.
Yeah.
It's the same.
All right,
thing.
on to the next question. Professor Moot writes in, do you guys think Riot should have a role in deciding the meta, or should it be up to the player base to take a more flexible champion, or take more flexible champions to new places?
So
Doesn't
I'm actually strongly opinionated on this. I kind of think it's foolish for anybody in the player base to think Riot didn't have a hand.
It's
in,
their game.
yeah, in determining their game. Like if Riot sees something and that the player base is doing and they don't like it, Riot is perfectly entitled to go and change that element of their game. I personally think Riot doesn't tend to be very heavy-handed on enforcing or not enforcing a meta. They have, the support items. It took 2 seasons of gameplay plus the beta before a ward item came to be, and then it was another season before they said, look, the most efficient way to play the game is the solo low income duo, or low income support in a duo lane and everything, and that's why they
Right.
that wasn't to enforce a meta. That was like the reality was that was the way the game was getting played, and they need to do something to improve the player experience.
And
They
people
were
are gonna-
adapting with the meta, I think, on that kind of change. This is the meta, so like you said,
Well,
we're going to work with it.
Riot understands that the game is best played this way. People are used to playing the game this way. It's played for 3-4 years, or 3 years probably, in this fashion, again, of the 1-1-2-1 meta, and they realize that people are comfortable with that. So making changes to force something is they could lose money doing that. They could lose a player base. They have to, if you keep the game fundamentally the same while changing different aspects of it, the player base is going to be more open to those changes. Now, we did see a giant backlash about the tower changes where people thought that they were
Right.
trying to force the 1-1-2 meta. But Riot came out and they said, and I still agree with this, we're not trying to force it. Excuse me. We're not trying to force it. We're just trying to make it be, there's again, cost-benefit analysis to this. Is it, are you swapping to keep somebody down, or are you swapping because it's the best way to play the game?
Yeah, I mean, and that's all those changes that they gear towards towers, and they've been a lot, and they've admitted when they're wrong. It's always a case where it's like they don't ever want a situation where there is one like defining correct strategy that should always get used, because realistically, even if people get frustrated with the tower change, realistically that makes for really boring gameplay. Like it's not really that fun to watch LCS play if everybody is doing the exact same strategy every single time.
And what we're seeing it right now, there's not that many lane swaps, but I think it's playing with how Riot wants it to play, because the lane swaps we have saw are because players are trying to keep somebody down or are trying to get a tower faster than the enemy, or like a kill into a tower more quickly, and that they're doing that analysis where they're saying we can do this better than the enemy, we are going to outplay the enemy, and now we're going to run a strategy off this by moving now quickly to bottom lane after we've taken the top tower. We're going to move quickly into mid lane. We saw it today. Actually, we saw a 1-2-1-1 meta today against Gambit, where they threw their ADC and support mid against Kassadin to shut a champion down.
Weren't they Weren't they trying to have Leona roam a lot? I caught bits and pieces of that game.
I did too. I know they started with Gragas there, but then Gragas went bot, and they swapped the AD carry, and they started pushing the tower down. They got an early kill on Kassadin, and it kind of snowballed from there.
Gambit still won, though, with Kassadin.
Right, well, it snowballed a little bit in their favor, but Kassadin ended up coming back because it's Kassadin.
Yeah.
And Gambit outplayed the enemy as well.
To me, I guess just to back up to the question itself, I do think Riot should have a hand in it, because the reality is that even if the player base perceives something as normal or fine, Riot is performing way, way more analysis and paying a lot of attention to things. And like, if something, even if it seems fine now, it could realistically become very unhealthy for the game and thus unfun to play. And if the game becomes not fun to play, that's when they start to lose players. And if they lose players, then that's eventually that just ends up being money no longer coming in.
Right.
So yeah, I do think they need to have a role in it. And frankly, I'm glad that they're proactive in trying to prevent the game from reaching a point where it's not fun to play.
Sure.
Well, and they need to know, because of all that now. It's their game. They shouldn't be blindsided by what players figure out a glitch or an exploit in something, which is how it was in the early days. Now they have a more solid grasp on things, so they can kind of...
Well, they have a whole testing department. Our buddy Sotir is now in that department that is fixing bugs. I remember him doing a little...
Yep.
I was talking to him one day. I'm like, why were you LeBlanc in the game for 2 minutes? He's like, I was just testing a bug with a W going into the jungle creeps over a wall that, somebody had reported, yada, yada. Like, those little things. They have a whole department on that now. And Riot needs to do that for the health of the game. I'm glad that Riot... Because you don't see this in many games. How many competitive games come out that have a parent company that are so behind making this an esport and are so behind fixing bugs and helping players play the game to their maximum ability? I don't see Valve coming out and talking about that. And I don't see it happening in CSGO. Like, Riot is doing a very good job. I like what Riot is doing with this game and how Riot is taking it. Even if they make mistakes and player base gets upset about it, Dom said it earlier, they will admit their mistake if it like 3 weeks later they'll go, yeah, guys, we made a mistake. Sorry, we're reverting the change. They did it with Tarragons. It came out and was overpowered, and everyone was like, oh, this game is broken now. This game is bullshit. Everyone's running double Tarragons, yada, yada. And they said, you're right. Let's patch it.
Fix it.
They Black Cleaver before that during Season 3.
Everything.
There've been times, but there've been a number of times where they like Corki is a really good example. He gets really strong, they nerf him, and then they're like, yeah, we overdid it with Corki. We need to give him a little bit of power back.
Sure. And I like it that they recognize, too, even with all the changes, Corki was really powerful at the end of Season 3 because of Trinity Force, and, he's the only champion here in the entire game that revolves around one item. But...
They are he's gotten some PBE changes that might kind of bring him back into non-totally dependent on Trinity Force's power.
Kind of speaking on Corki, I liked the change to Q at the beginning, but I don't like it anymore because it's easy to dodge.
It's very easy to dodge now.
And you took away a lot of his power by removing a burst damage from his kit, and that's, he
But it's easier to poke with it than it was before. You had to get kind of in the
still easy
line
to
of fire.
dodge.
I would
of how
say
slow lob speed is.
It's easier to poke just because you can do it from farther away. Before, it was instant, and if you were in range to do it, it was just instant burst of damage. So it was. You could argue that if you were close enough, it was easier to poke.
It was a give and take
before.
So.
Right.
Corki's actually one of those weird champions who's difficult to balance because he's a hybrid.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he gains... Like, AP
Both.
Corki is actually a nightmare to run into.
I've seen it succeed a couple times.
I have too.
No. AP Corki is really strong. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You don't want to run into AP Corki, but he just doesn't get played a whole lot. Good. Don't start playing AP Corki because that.
Yeah, you don't want to run into AP
Don't be an
Tristana
asshole.
either till the late game, and then she doesn't kill you with her rotation, and she's useless.
I mean, you put a timer on yourself
Okay,
when you go with an AP build, but
Fucking Raid Man. I want to see what next time you guys do a battle arena, I want to see somebody play as the Rain Man. And if those two guys who never watched the stream, the Rain Man is notorious for buying 4 Doran's items, also for buying 2 Doran's items, sitting in base for about 30 extra seconds, staring at his store and just going, should I buy this item that's gonna really help me in lane? No, I'm gonna buy a couple more Dorans.
he has done that since Season 1.
Yeah, he's infamous for just sitting there and waiting forever to buy something. And he's not waiting for gold. He just sits there and looks at it and goes, should I buy this? No, I'm going to buy a couple more Dorans because that looks like that's best for me right
There
now.
were times when he was playing on TSM and he would like he would just sit in base because he was having a conversation. It wasn't even an argument. He'd just be like having a conversation with somebody and then like especially be like, dude, what the fuck? Why are you standing in base still? It's like, oh, I've only been there 5 seconds. No, you've been there for like a minute.
Yeah. Fucking Rain Man. Let's do this last question from Zachary and we'll close out the podcast. Do you guys have any recommendations for hand dexterity, accuracy, or accuracy improvement?
I can answer this quick.
Okay.
No, I don't have any.
I don't either.
Really? They're
Play StarCraft.
The pros have those little hand warmers to keep the circulation.
There are
accuracy though.
There are games like little flash games and stuff that show like small little things you can click on and other stuff. I have friends who play competitive CS and they use that.
Yeah, there's a game I see. Is it Box? Is that his name?
Yeah,
I play all the time, and it plays music, and
that's OSU. Yeah, to be honest, I could probably come up with a list of like little games like that, but it's basically anything that is going to increase like precision with clicking or moving your mouse quickly.
He knows that he wants a specific game or thing.
Yeah, no, the OSU is one of them. There's another. I'd have to go look. I need to talk to my CS buddy about that.
You know
typo attack type games too, just to get familiar with typing.
There's
your left hand.
You can
so
also
racer.com.
This is a trick too. If you turn off the automatic mouse acceleration, it'll immediately improve your ability to land skill shots.
Okay.
For people,
I will tell you that there is a really good video out there about this by Day9 on one of his dailies, and it was a really old daily. We're talking like in the hundreds or 200s. He's up to 600 now, to give you guys perspective.
Damn.
Well, it's a daily. He's been doing it for,
Can you Google search it by name?
Google search
find
it,
maybe?
do Day9 daily accuracy or improve accuracy or something. He talks about it for StarCraft because accuracy is you need accuracy to play StarCraft because it comes down to seconds or half a seconds.
Units.
And I remember one of the things it was, he goes, grab one unit, pull it off to the side, and try to make the smallest box you can around that unit as quickly in succession as you can, possibly. Because when you have a group of units and you do the box for you guys in StarCraft, you drag to make a box. If you guys don't play it, don't know. And he goes, you have to make the smallest box possible in the quickest fashion you can possible while doing 10 other things. And he goes, you start by doing that one unit and just going around that one unit. And you do 4 units. And you try to do it as fast as you can. And make the smallest box possible and grab those units. But, you start your mouse up in the upper right corner, bring it down, then do it. Like that type of thing. That helps improve accuracy, right? Over and over and over, doing it again. So, yeah, go check out Day9 has a lot of those. I mean, Day9, people have been calling for Day9 of League forever, but the games, the games are so different, yada yada. That's really hard to do that. But yeah, definitely go check out a lot of Day9 stuff. He has a lot of those things that'll help you out with League, even though it's for StarCraft.
And feel free to add me in game too, or email us, and I'm sure we can find a list.
Email us. We'll put it on the website if we put a list together. It'll go on either episode 141 or 142.
Yep,
you'll find it. So. Dom, you look like you're.
I just have nothing to add here. I don't have.
I made a C++ game called ASCII Squirrel Shooter, where I drew an ASCII squirrel, and it would randomly pop around, and you'd have to try to shoot it, and that improved dexterity a little bit. I should upload it somewhere.
I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, those guys who don't know who Day9 is, he makes a daily for StarCraft, and he goes over pro strategies, and he is the go-to guy for StarCraft.
He's a StarCraft personality. He's the man.
So yeah, that's it. That's episode 141 of this podcast. I think we are done for the evening.
Close us out in the voice.
Doesn't even know how to do the voice, does he?
Quite.
Oh,
so guys, thanks for listening. I can't do it anymore. It's like that. Quite. Thanks for listening to the Trinity
worse and worse
podcast
every time.
My name is Adam Podophobia Cogswell.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. See you.
Nice night.
Peace, guys.
See ya.